When my hands were crushed, I never dreamed that so many doctors would cover up a medical mistake that made me disabled. But collectively, the medical industry saves billions when they do this.
Technology is a wonderful thing that enabled me to continue writing music again.
But it also allowed these doctors to flag my medical file so that I was never able to get treatment for my work-related injuries. When my lawyer boyfriend beat me up, electronic files enabled his attorneys to smear my reputation so that I was never able to get fair legal representation ever again. And when that rapist doctor was convicted of raping me and other women,
so many doctors maligned my character in order to protect him
that my integrity is being impugned to this day because electronic medical files are still being used to slander me.
Electronic medical files also enabled the people in Napoleon to look up my workers' compensation claim,
to know my medical conditions, and then bully me because I was a disabled person with post-traumatic stress disorder.
And I was so sick of all this, I began recording people because they just lied and lied and lied.
And even when I presented my recordings to prosecutors to defend my integrity, they ignored my evidence and I was denied equal protection under the law.
And even though my computers were never online, these people were able to use this sophisticated technology to hack my computers and delete evidence that proved how corrupt they all really were.
And without a warrant, they can use IMSI catchers to capture all your internet and cellular communications. And they can do this to anybody.
I never dreamed that so many people would try to kill me.
When I was steered to that sadistic doctor who altered my trust and poisoned me, I revised the document and filed a new one with the bank.
But I later learned that somehow the bank manager obtained a copy of that fake document and kept a copy of it in my file.
These people were able to use GPS, cell phone data, license plate readings, and other technology to track me everywhere I went and poison my food. When a hospital doesn't acknowledge that a target's been poisoned, they can keep that target in the healthcare system, drain their assets, and eliminate them as any threat to their risk management protocol.
And when these people got in on this poisoning, they thought that they could take everything that I had for themselves.
When the police failed to investigate in a timely manner, critical evidence was lost that made it very unlikely that any of these people would ever be prosecuted. There is no oversight, and under home rule authority, they were able to prevent any outside agency from ever investigating.
Corruption wouldn't be possible without it.
They poisoned and killed 4 of my dogs.
My dogs and I were poisoned hundreds of times for years, and it cost me more than 3 times my monthly income to keep us alive.
It drained my savings.
Since this group wanted to steal all my money, they weren't too happy about it when most of my money was spent.
It took me 30 years to refine my music to the point that I hoped I would be able to market it. And it was shocking when this group deleted all my music files. They hated me because I was disabled. And they didn't want me to be able to rehabilitate myself because if I was successful, people would start asking questions. was stalked by this sadistic doctor for more than 10 years. This doctor called himself the Raven, and he broke into my house, hot-wired my toaster, and my house nearly burned to the ground. He even put copper in the aerator of my faucet, knowing what it would do. When this group continued to stalk me, I tried looking online for a solution, and I found this website called raven1.net. It claimed to offer assistance to victims of stalking, but there were little blue stars all through the site, and when I clicked on one, I was directed to another site called the True Justice Control Center. This was a recruiting center for disgruntled people who wanted to retaliate against people who had made professional or criminal complaints against them. Their operations are covert because their actions are criminal against innocent, law-abiding people who they already hurt. This site bragged about having cooperative police officers, judges, lawyers, private investigators, business people aligned with their operations, and they would help this group target innocent people. And when you see a store security guard meeting with a van full of cops outside a store where the food and shampoo you bought was tainted, it's not hard to believe that this is completely true. This site organized stalkers to stalk each other's victims, so if the victim reported stalking by more than one person, the police would think they were crazy. This guy followed me around the health food store for 20 minutes, and the only thing he bought was a cookie. This group promoted organized gang stalking to mitigate liability when there was white-collar wrongdoing. And ruining the victim's reputation was just part of their scheme. They had a textbook manual describing every conceivable technique that could be used to menace someone and get away with it. And these groups operate freely throughout this country to go after any plaintiff in a lawsuit. Anyone who has filed a complaint against a professional, a lawyer, an insurance company, a hospital, a doctor. And they routinely recruit disgruntled and mentally ill people and criminals to fulfill their agenda so that law enforcement never investigates any further when someone gets caught. These risk management groups operate under the guise of role-playing games on the internet. In this way, they can recruit tens of thousands of people all over this country to assist them in their game. From tainted spring water with the telltale sign of a syringe mark in the bottle's cap, to fruits and vegetables which bear no indication that they were injected. People have no idea that their illnesses may be induced by groups with specific agendas. When I tried reporting this to the FBI, eventually this site was shut down and discredited as a mind control website. But eventually other sites began to pop up, creating virtual prisons for any witness who tried to testify against someone aligned with these risk management groups. And these sites also purported to help victims of stalking, but they also described these same techniques that were being used by these groups. Only now they were being administered through virtual private networks overseas, and our government couldn't do anything about it. This enables the worst kind of people in the world to climb the economic ladder on the backs of their victims and embed themselves among those companies and people who are truly deserving of the American dream.
It is a